What is going on, everyone? Welcome into Big Time Football Talk. So I want to get into this. I want to break down the Atlanta Falcons 2020 football preview. So I want to get into some of the acquisitions. They added Dante Fowler Jr., a guy who's kind of been solid with the Rams the last few years. Signed him to a 3-year deal. His best year coming last year with the Rams with 11.5 sacks. Never been a guy that's super productive, but they hope Atlanta's banking on that last year will be kind of like what he carries on. It's kind of like his breakout year, and hopefully he continues to put up numbers like that because Atlanta needs to improve at rushing the passer. So they added Hayden Hurst at tight end because obviously Austin Hooper moves on to the Cleveland Browns. Hooper had a career-high year in touchdowns. I'm not really sure exactly what was it, 6 or 7 he finished with, but had a couple games with multi-touchdowns. One was against the Colts, and the other one coming, I'm not sure who it was against, but Austin Hooper gets big money because he came off a great year. Hayden Hurst, solid tight end for the Ravens, but the Ravens don't really necessarily need him. That's kind of why they ended up wheeling and dealing him to Atlanta because they also have Mark Andrews, a guy that has a chance to emerge as one of the best in the NFL. But Hayden Hurst likely in a good position to succeed with Atlanta. You know, you could argue that he's an even better player than Austin Hooper, and you saw that Matt Ryan's looking to get the ball to the tight end more. So good situation for Hayden Hurst now to develop a connection with Matt Ryan. Like I said, the offense featured the tight end more, and you obviously get Todd Gurley to the 1-year deal. The Rams decided to release him. They put together a big contract for Gurley and obviously just decided to part ways because Todd Gurley has dealt with the arthritis, the knee problems. But, Atlanta, this could be a good fit. Devontae Freeman looks like he's not coming back. Still a free agent on the market. So Todd Gurley could be the guy they feature, could get the running game going, something that was non-existent last year. Devontae Freeman just really struggled with injuries and kind of fell off. Ito Smith is just kind of a player. And, they need to get the play-action game going so you can get some consistency, get some more, some better deep balls thrown, more gets to keep the defense more honest. I think this was Falcons were a team that was like 29th in rushing the ball last year. So bringing in Todd Gurley will hopefully give them that spark in the run game they're looking for. And they added Deion Buchanan, who's a speedy linebacker. Production kind of been okay. Charles Harris, a guy that was drafted fairly high in the past to the Dolphins, hasn't really done anything in the NFL, and they lose obviously Desmond Trufant, cut Devontae Freeman, and lose Vic Beasley and Devondre Campbell. Beasley, when healthy, and Devondre Campbell were guys that were key to their Super Bowl run in 2016, but last year their production really dipped, and it really showed. Vic Beasley, dealt with some injuries also. But Matt Ryan was pretty solid last year, but it was so tough because the offensive line just struggled. That's Matt Ryan is just not a mobile quarterback. He never really has been. He's an athletic guy, but he's not a guy that is super mobile and is able to deal with a lot of pressure like the Russell Wilsons and Kyler Murrays of the world and Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes. But they're trying to do more about the offensive line. They drafted a couple guys, and obviously this is the best wide receiver core in football. Arguably, you got Calvin Ridley, Julio-Jones, former Alabama standouts, and they are just phenomenal. Calvin Ridley is a guy that has kind of become that key route runner, and then Julio-Jones is just the best wide receiver in football. He is a matchup nightmare, a guy that teams, likely have to put 1 or 2 guys on to try to cover. So they obviously need big things out of them. They made a kind of a curious acquisition of Laquan Treadwell, a guy that was a former 5-star recruit at Ole Miss and, was pretty good there. Came at a rough time at the end of his career with Ole Miss. I don't think the controversy had quite come out yet about the crap with Hugh Freeze, but obviously Laquan Treadwell dealt with that leg injury that his last year at Ole Miss, and then came to Minnesota with high expectations in a draft class in 2015 that had names like Kevin White, Josh Jackson, a lot of guys that did absolutely nothing. Treadwell has done pretty much nothing, and I don't know. I guess Atlanta's hoping that can turn around now, but this is a guy that, this is kind of his last shot right here. So, but I don't really see him doing any well. But if they can get any sort of production from him in the slot or wherever he lines up playing, that's crucial. And they also still have Jake Matthews and Alex Mack. Alex Mack has been one of the better centers in the league. Jake Matthews, one of the better tackles in the league, a former Texas A&M Aggie that has been super solid. He was both guys that were key pieces to the successful offense back in 2016 when they went to the Super Bowl and just fell short. But keeping them around is obviously huge. They still have Grady Jarrett, who's one of the more underrated defensive players in the National Football League. They get Marlon Davidson in the draft, a high-motor, big, physical defensive end that hopefully can generate a pass rush. But if not, he's shown the ability to stop the run, and I can't emphasize enough how hard the kid plays and with the motor he has. I heard at the Combine, Daniel Jeremiah sounds like he's a guy that just has a lot of love for the game of football, so that's big. And they still have Deion Jones, one of the best coverage linebackers in football. Deion Jones, a guy that needs to just be the staple of this defense and continue to do what he's been doing. Deion Jones is super talented guy that really was a key piece in the 2016 Super Bowl run on defense and has been solid. Could have played better this year. He looked kind of just frustrated. And you could tell his body language, like when they started off 1-7 this year. So they need better things out of Deion Jones, but still been a very solid player, one of the best coverage linebackers in the National Football League. Drafted A.J. Terrell from Clemson, who I think is one of the best corners in this draft, a competitor. You can't judge him on the one bad game on LSU against Jamar Chase, but this is a guy that that will compete. He's shown in practice he's not afraid to go against and get physical with Julio-Jones, Calvin Ridley. I think that A.J. Terrell will be just fine. This is a secondary that needs to play well. You got Drew Brees and Tom Brady you're going to be playing against twice a year. You also got Isaiah Oliver at the other cornerback position. Oliver was a guy that was pretty good his rookie year, and then last year took somewhat of a step back. DeMonte KZ. Desmond Trufant is no longer there after dealing with a lot of injuries. They just decided to move on from him. But Keanu Neal hopefully stays healthy at the safety position. Kendall Sheffield's a guy they like from Ohio State who played a little bit in the slot last year but could show some improvement. But this is a team that was 7-9 last year in the division, started 1-7, and they just kept battling. I think that says a lot about this coaching staff, and this is a proud organization under Arthur Blank and the ownership that they're not just going to, they weren't just going to fold. They were going to fight, and ended up finishing still second in the NFC South to the Atlanta Falcons. But like I said, will the improvement, bringing in A.J. Terrell and trying to improve in coverage and the offensive line, and hopefully get better production out of the running game with Todd Gurley coming in, is it going to be enough to overcome a division with Tom Brady, Drew Brees, and even in Carolina, this is going to be a Carolina team that isn't going to be a slouch with Teddy Bridgewater. You still have McCaffrey, so this division always loaded with talent. Even if it seems like the Bucs or Panthers, kind of are the two teams that'll finish last in the division. The Falcons usually never, at least in recent years, haven't finished last. But when you play Tampa Bay and Carolina, they have guys that you really have to keep on your radar, like Christian McCaffrey, and then the Bucs have several weapons at wide receiver. So that's where Atlanta's really going to have to come to play. You got Mike Evans, O.J. Howard, Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski. So this is a division that's you're going to see some competitive football games within the division, and it's Falcons are a team that a lot of people have on their radar as one of the most improved teams, and I could definitely see it with the pride in this organization, their new stadium. So, and Arthur Blank he's an owner that really cares about winning. He's not just about the business side of it for Atlanta. So So, yeah, obviously there is optimism for the Atlanta Falcons heading into 2020. But thank you guys for tuning in to Big Time Football Talk. I appreciate the support you guys continue to have for the channel, making this one of the faster growing channels out there on YouTube for college and NFL football talk. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Stay tuned for more clips from the show. Until next time, peace.